Well, I know this looks really terrible, but don't click off just yet. Give me a second to explain. You see, this is what my tiny little room looks like with no artificial light whatsoever. But we can fix that really quite easily just by adding a couple of lights. 3 to be exact. So give me a second and we'll switch those on. Now this is much more like it. What up folks, my name's Alex and this is MrAlexTech. And in this video, we're going to be taking a look at this lighting kit which I'm using just now. It's the Fovitec StudioPro 3 light and boom arm lighting kit. Now Fovitec did send this to me for free, but I'm under no stipulation to say anything at all, so all the opinions within this video are entirely my own. Now on paper at least, this kit looks like a really interesting option for anyone looking to get into photography, videography, or YouTube. It's both affordable and really flexible because you get 2 main light stands with varying power light, and you get a 3rd boom arm, which just gives you more options. But is it any good? Well, in this video, we're going to try and find out. I'll do a quick unboxing to show you what you get in the box. We'll then explore some of the main features. I'll show you how I would use it to set up a shot just like this, as well as how I'd use it to create some product photography or B-roll, and then I'll summarize my feelings at the end. But before we get into all of that, let's have a look at some of the key specs, shall we? The Fovitec StudioPro 3 Light Softbox kit is just £169 or $189, and it's available from fovitec.com and fovitec.co.uk. You get 3 lights, obviously, in the pack, totaling 2,500 watts of power. Each light comes with its own 50 by 70 centimeter softbox with diffuser. The CRI is rated at 90 plus, and all of the lights are balanced at 5500K. And there you are, the boring stuff is out the way. So, obviously, I've already got this lighting kit set up, but I did record an unboxing, so let's have a look at that and I can show you exactly what you get for your £169. Now, it does actually come with this canvas duffel bag, which is really quite handy. Just means that you've got a place to store everything if you need to pack it away, and it also makes life a little bit easier if you're traveling or going to jobs or whatever. You can just shove everything in here and you're good to go. Let's crack it open and take a quick look, shall we? So we've got not 1, not 2, but 3 light stands. These are our light bulbs, Fovitec 45 watt 5500K light bulb. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And then we've got 2 of these, each accepts 5 lights. So we've got 2 of these, and then we've got 1 of these. So this is an umbrella star reflector, which takes the 11th light bulb. And last but not least, we have our boom arm with our weighted bag. Right, now putting the reflector on these things is a little bit interesting. You've got these 4 sort of tent poles, really, and then you've got your reflector. You have to build it like a tent. You've got your 4 corners, you put your tent poles through, there's little holes on here, you have to jam them in. Not the easiest setup I've ever done. You wouldn't necessarily want to turn up on a shoot with limited time trying to put this all together, and that also applies if you're at home. If you've got room to leave these up all the time, then absolutely fine, but you wouldn't really want to be taking these down and then rebuilding them whenever you wanted to shoot because, well, it's just a little bit time consuming actually. Make sure they're the right way around for starters, and then you slide it through. That goes around there. And that goes in there like that. All right, number 2. There you go. All right, number 3. And last one. And now we're ready to go. So let's take a quick look at the controls on the back of these lights. You've got 3 switches across here. The middle one just turns the center light bulb on. So I can flick that, and now we've just got 1 of the light bulbs operating. Flick that one off, The switch on the right hand side will do the top left and the bottom right. So we can flick that on and we'll get twice as much power as using the middle switch. And then the left is the same again, but we're using the top right and the top left bulbs. So we can pop that on again, so we've got 2 bulbs going, we've got twice the power of the middle button. But obviously you can combine them. So for example, if we wanted 3 bulbs, we can do the left switch and the middle switch, and now we've got 3 bulbs that are lit. If we want all 5 bulbs, obviously we do. And then if we want 4 bulbs, we can just knock the middle one off. So we've got the 4 outside bulbs, but not the middle one lit. So that way you have a little bit more control over your exposure than you might usually find with a fluorescent light like this. Now, in terms of adjustments, the light stands are a pretty standard affair. You've got 3 of these on the light stands themselves. You just undo that, and that allows you to increase and decrease the height of the light stand. Now, the light stands themselves are a pretty average affair. They're pretty much exactly what you'd expect. They're not heavy duty, but they're also not the thinnest and lightest that I've ever seen. I wouldn't use them outside in the wind, but for home use, they'll do just fine. And then you've got this adjustment here. So you simply undo this, and then you can change the angle of the light and the softbox as required. This cable, really long, at least probably 10, 15 foot long. Absolute winner in my eyes. There's nothing worse than buying a lighting kit with a really short cable. So thumbs up to Fovitec from me for that one. Now the boom arm light is a little bit different. This is just a simple on and off switch. Because it's only a single bulb, you can't adjust the power, it's just on and off. Now the boom arm itself, dead easy to operate. All we do is undo this lever to loosen off this bit here, and then our boom arm can slide up and down as well as rotate. So we can just put this light wherever we want it. Now at the end, you've also got this. So if you extend the boom arm too far, you can attach your counterweight on this end so that your light stand doesn't topple over. All 3 of the light stands come with a real simple Velcro diffuser like so, which just attaches really quickly, simply and easily to soften up that light and give you some nicer shadows. I've got one of the softboxes set up to my left just here. Hopefully you can just see it in the corner of the frame. It's less than a meter in front of me. It's really quite close, and we've got 1 bulb on at the moment. My camera is set to ISO 200. I'm shooting at f5.6 and 1/60th of a second. We're going to knock 3 on now, so I'm just going to flick another switch. So this is now with 3 lights turned on, and we'll flick the other switch to go to all 5. Is with all 5. Remember that's f5.6, 1/60th of a second, and ISO 200. So we've unboxed, we've got all the lights set up and ready to go. So let's start talking about how I would use these lights myself. So the first one I've got set up already, and this is my main light. So I've got this just off camera, about 45 degrees and about 45 degrees up as well, just shining some nice soft light onto my face. Now that's the only light that I've got on at the moment. I always recommend that you do these one by one. So start off with your main light, get it in the right place, get it looking about right, like I have now, and then we can move on to the second light, which is our fill light. So this is my second main softbox here, and we're going to use 1 bulb for this one. So generally you want your fill to be about 50 or 75% of the power of your main light. So you don't want to match your main light, you want to come down just a little bit, because you don't want to be equally lit from both sides. You want your main to be coming in, and then the fill light just to give you a little bit of extra light to fill in those shadows. Now I've actually pointed it not directly at me, it's sort of just going over the front just to reduce that exposure a little bit. And there we go. We've now got our main light and our fill light all set up. So now we can move on to our third and final light, which is our backlight, or rim light it's sometimes called, and sometimes it's called the hair light as well. Now I've set the boom arm up just so it's slightly high. It's going to be pointing down. I'm going to point it at the back of my head and over my left shoulder. So we're just going to move it quite far away, up into the corner, angle it at the back of my head, turn it on and see how it looks. And there you go. That's exactly as I would use this kit for YouTube videos, for that sort of thing, and use a main, a fill, and a backlight. Over here, I've actually got a little red light and a little blue light, which I can turn on, and it just adds something to the background just to make the shot a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to turn my blue one on. Now we've just got that little bit of blue hue behind me, just adding a little bit of extra, and there you go. That's a really nice use, in my opinion, of this Fovitec 3 light setup. Now, of course, a 3 light setup isn't just useful for lighting a subject like me, it's also really useful for project photography and videography as well. So let's find something, we'll set this up for that use and we'll see how it performs there as well. So here, I've got another light setup on a table. I've got a little bit of backlighting, as you can see, with the blue. And then all I'm going to use is nothing but the single boom arm light positioned directly above our light. Flick that on. And we've got a really nice, contrasty, dynamically lit product shot right here. So to conclude, I'm actually quite a big fan of this funny looking guy. Yes, you. I think it's a surprisingly good kit at a really great price. It's particularly good if you're into photography and you're trying to learn more about lighting and experiment with multiple light sources. Strobes and flashes are great, but continuous light sources like this are just that little bit easier to learn with. It's also great if you're into videography for pretty much the same reasons as I've just mentioned for photography. And it's really great if you're trying to get into YouTube and you just want a one-size-fits-all kit that's going to give you great lighting for talking head sections, as well as doing some product shots and all that sort of stuff as well. Is it perfect? No, of course it's not. The CRI could be higher. At only 90, it's not great. You are going to get some little bit of hues in there. It's not going to be as clean, but for the price, you can't really complain too much about that, I don't think. It's also quite a big, chunky little unit, especially with all the soft boxes on, so you do need a little bit of extra room. If you're really short on space like I am, LED panels are more useful, but obviously they come with a much higher price generally as well. And then of course you've got this slight annoyance of those soft boxes being a little bit fiddly and finicky to put up and put down. But overall, I think it's a really great kit. 170 quid is a really good price for 3 good lights with that much power and the boom arm, and that you can control the power. It's overall just a really nice kit to get you going. You may outgrow it in the future, but if you're looking to buy one kit once to really experiment with, really play with, and really get into photography, videography, YouTube, all of the above, then I really can recommend this Fovitec StudioPro 3 light softbox kit. Would you agree? So yeah, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Any comments or feedback, shove them down below. And if you're new here, you enjoyed this video, you want to see a little bit more, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. Anyway, thanks ever so much for watching. Take it easy, folks. I'll see you next time. Bye.